Ladies and gentlemen, today I want to talk about spiritual maintenance and the importance of stabilizing your nervous system, especially for anybody that has gone through any kind of narcissistic abuse or that is going through any kind of complex PTSD recovery. It is very, very important to stabilize your nervous system, and that requires spiritual maintenance. So imagine your spirit as like a spiritual car, right? You have to put gas in it every now and then. You have to get your oil changed. You have to rotate the car tires. You have to make sure you change out the air filter. You have to do a lot of different little things here and there on your spiritual car, your spiritual vehicle, in order to keep it going smooth. Otherwise, you're going to have a used car with hundreds of thousands of miles on it, and you're not taking care of it. And it's okay to have hundreds of thousands of miles on the car, even though it's not going to be super high in value as far as the amount of miles, let's say, is comparable to just your body's age, right? Because your spirit is actually not going to die, but the body will die one day. And it's important to keep the spiritual progress going, because the mind cannot live without the body, just as the body cannot live without the mind, just as the mind and the body cannot live without the soul. This is why Jesus says to love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, thy mind, thy body, and thy soul, right? So we have to understand that the body is just as much a part of us as we are of it. But we don't need to identify with the body. That's the key. We don't need to identify with the body. And something that I've been going through a lot recently throughout all of these spiritual attacks of lust is a lot more meditation. Just a lot more meditation. And that's helped me stay grounded. That's helped me stay stabilized. And I want to tell you guys a little bit about what's happened to me in my past and part of how I recovered from complex PTSD and the kinds of other healing techniques that I used. So I'm not sure if anybody here has heard of Reiki or Reiki, however you want to pronounce it, but it's a Japanese healing meditative technique, and it's essentially a technique where you can flow through the energetic fields and the ethereal fields of the spirit to heal energetically the chakras or just the body in general. I've tried to use Reiki when I got like little cooking burns on my fingers or whatnot, and just to try to send more energy there. And it sounds very mystical, right? It sounds very like okay, that doesn't really sound like scientific. It isn't really. It isn't scientific from the sounds of it. But there is definitely a sense of spiritual direction that you can take with Reiki or shamanistic healing. And that's by focusing certain parts of your body. Like, let's say, for example, you have a lot of stomach pain or you have a lot of cramps in your stomach, and it's after eating certain foods or whatnot. You stop eating those foods, it still kind of comes and goes. You can imagine a ball of light, per se, in your stomach, and you can imagine it being purified, and you have to be your own physician. This is something I also am teaching people in these consultations that I have, is that, my goal isn't to have you be in my consultation sessions forever, unlike other therapists, like legitimate PhD therapists. Where I don't have a PhD. My goal is to ensure that you're your own physician. You know what you need, and you know how to heal yourself. Because, why would you go to somebody else about these kinds of things? And a lot of the spiritual topics that we go through, you can't really go to your doctor about these things. You can't say, like, hey, look, I've been having these crazy visions. Like I've been having these crazy visions, and my shoulder doesn't hurt physically, but there feels like there's something there spiritually, and I don't exactly know what that is. Well, he's probably going to give you a pill, or she's probably going to give you a pill, or send you to the psych ward, right? That's not going to happen here. No. Like, I understand that there's a spiritual trauma that gets trapped in the body, which is all the more reason that you need to meditate, and all the more reason for spiritual maintenance. But anyway, as far as Reiki and shamanistic healing goes, it's about sending a concentrated focus, almost like you're projecting your consciousness to a certain place on your body and imagining healing energy being sent there. And it is an active imagination technique, but I don't think that negates the thought process there, because your thoughts are so powerful. You have no idea how powerful your thoughts are. You have no idea how powerful your mind really is. Like, you understand that your mind is the most critical, high-functioning tool you have at your disposal, right? It's not your laptop. It's not a phone. It's not any kind of office supply. It's not any kind of material possession that you have. It is your mind. Your mind is so powerful, but it takes the conscientiousness within the heart to understand what the mind is really trying to do, because the mind wants to trick us a lot, and that's the ego. The Buddhists say that you have to make friends with the monkey mind, so to speak. And this is something that I noticed on my semen retention journey for the last week or so with all of these lustful attacks. It's that I was getting almost my ego puffed up a little bit because of the attention that I was getting. And I was getting a bunch of this, dopamine released into my nervous system, which caused an impairment within my structural and nervous system processing. It was like the gears on my spiritual car, which is my body. It's like the gears on my spiritual car were starting to grind when I tried to change the shift and tried to shift into a new gear. Something's wrong with the clutch. The clutch isn't going right. So I've actually been doing a lot of meditation on just balancing everything in my body and making sure that the more that I ascend and the more people that I'm reaching, this is also something interesting I found, is that the more people I reach on my YouTube or in my consultations or anything like that, it also opens me up for similar spiritual problems and attacks that the people that I'm associating with are going through. But that's okay. I know that I have the stability within me to do such things. I have the stability to understand how to lead properly and sufficiently so that we can all stay on Noah's Ark, so to speak, and we don't have to get left behind. I don't want to see anybody get left behind. I really don't. But like I said in one of my recent videos, sometimes people are just collateral damage and you have to keep moving forward. But really, what meditation is, this is something that came to me in my meditation yesterday. It's that meditation is cardio for the mind. Now, anybody that is unfamiliar with cardio, because I fucking hate cardio. Doing cardio at the gym, I don't like it. It's so hard sometimes. But I've been increasing my cardio a lot more recently over the past couple weeks. And I've noticed a mere reflection in how the more I increase my cardio, there's certain other spiritual attacks that are going to test my spiritual cardiovascular system, I suppose. And so meditation is a way of practicing that long distance marathon of the spiritual game, because this is not a sprint. Your meditative practice, your spiritual practice, your connection to God, it's not a sprint. It's a marathon. And a lot of people that I've had in the past that have wanted to do things on the spiritual journey, but they didn't want to commit to the marathon. They wanted to run 100 meters, and they're like, okay, well, do I get my reward now? Like, does the universe give me enlightenment now? It's like, bro, no. No. The universe doesn't work like that. You've got to go through all of the experiences necessary that you need to go through, that you need to experience before you come to the realization of what's actually going on. And it's up to you on whether or not you want to learn that lesson. The universe is a very benevolent source. It's very benevolent. But karma's a bitch. So you have to understand that the universe isn't always going to give you what you think, like that you deserve. You're going to have to make some mistakes. You're going to have to learn from those mistakes and accept accountability. Otherwise, you will not move forward. And sometimes you just have to work harder. You really have to work harder. You have to really notice what's going on inside yourself. And if you don't, then there's going to be consequences for that. And I know some of you guys don't want to hear that. I'm very aware that there are people, I would say maybe there's probably only 2 or 3% of the people that are watching this that actually have something negative to say. In fact, I'm surprised that I don't get more hate than I do. Like, the hate that I do get, and there are some emails that I get that are hate, but for the most part, it's a lot of love, which is great. It's fantastic, because like the Beatles say, the love that you take is equal to the love that you make. And so I'm really pleased to see how much love there is out there and how much this message is resonating with people. But I'm also realizing how little some people really genuinely do not understand the importance of the meditative and spiritual practice. Now, I'm not talking about meditation as in doing the 666 figurines with your hands and meditating out like a crazy monk in the woods or anything like that. I'm not saying that. Now, you can do that if you want. In fact, I have. I've tried. I didn't do the 666, but I have meditated in the woods. When I went to Oregon a couple years ago, the first time I went to Oregon, I went to Oregon last year too, but the first time I went to Oregon, I got to a place to where there was absolutely nobody, not a soul in sight for miles. I had no idea. I didn't even really know where I was, but I just decided to, to stop for the night and then take some rest and get back on the road because I was driving to the beach. And the beach was 14 hours from my house, and I had taken 8 hours to drive there that day. So, and it was nighttime anyway. But I meditated there. I just meditated by a tree and just sat there for a long time. And then after a while, I played my guitar a little bit. No phone, no internet, no nothing. And it was just me and the trees. And it was a beautiful thing. It was a beautiful sight. I will never forget that moment waking up the next day and seeing the sunshine glimmer through the trees. Those beautiful, green, luscious pine trees. And oak trees as well. Just beautiful trees. Oregon has some really beautiful sights. And the point is that was a very healing experience in of itself. And I needed to experience that. I mean, even the stars at night, I had my telescope out and I was looking at the stars. And my goodness, like you could see stars that I would have never even knew was there if I didn't go. You know, it's weird how sometimes just traveling to a new place, you just get exposed to these things that are always right in front of you, and yet you don't know because, you know, during the day you look up to the sky, you just see the blue sky. You know there's the stars behind there. But like imagine what our ancestors thought. Like as soon as the sun goes down, like the whole sky changes. That's weird as hell. Like that's that's crazy. That's super strange. We don't have we didn't have the science back then that we do now. And so to think about that was just really fascinating. It was a very archaic experience that I really needed to have. So if you need to do that kind of thing, go do it. And you have to you have to do what you have to do to self-realize on this journey. Now, I'm not going to promote any kind of promiscuous behavior because I don't think there's, like I said in another video recently, you have to understand the difference between accepting the desire, acting the desire, and repressing the desire. If you desire to have S3X, accept that desire. You know, accept it. But don't send your nervous system into an absolute frenzy by going from person to person to person to person, or exposing yourself and getting all this attention. Or if you do expose yourself and you get certain kinds of attention, just notice what the kind of attention you're getting. Because in my experience, there's been I would say 2 or 3 different kinds of attention that I've been getting within the last few months specifically on the semen retention journey. But in general, there's 2 or 3. The first one is this kind of smug look. People don't like you. You don't really know why. They just don't like your energy because who knows. Second is one of lust or visceral desire, which is not really, like, I'd prefer to have visceral desire over lust, I think, but I don't want to quite put those in the same category, but we'll do that for now. And then the other one is where people are attracted to your spirit. They are attracted to the light in you. You know, you are a breath of fresh air, and they can appreciate that. And it's not all about the body, even though they may be attracted to your body, they may be attracted to what you look like, but it's more about the kind of energy that you bring to the table. And the way that you balance that energy is through meditation. It's through studying the Word of God, meditating on the Word of God, but also meditating on where your thoughts are coming from. Who are you? Who am I? Those are the thoughts that are going to lead to self-realization. So with that being said, I hope this video was useful and informative. Until next time, peace be with you.